get that program off the ground. And we continue to mentor journalists about using this space in their broadcasts. And really, that's what it's a great use of this space, because you are able to see your viewers in real time. It punches through that television glass. No longer is there a barrier between a broadcaster and a viewer. No longer is there a barrier really between a business and their customers. You have the ability to give them a virtual handshake or a virtual hug, if you will, in this space via Hangouts.
And you can tell right away how you're doing just by the reaction. It's like instant gratification, instant reaction. You just know it's like being on stage at theater and like having the audience cheer for you or at a concert. So it's pretty amazing.
And correct you too. I mean, there are a lot of instances where, either we said something wrong or we had a grammar mistake or something, and people in the Hangout, and rightly so, will say, "Hey, by the way, it's this." So real-time correction. No longer do you have to go back to the newsroom, and wait for that email to come from that angry viewer. They're in your ear, and they're not angry, but I mean, correcting. And what's been really neat to see is some of the students at KOMU, when they were doing their broadcasts, and the people in the Hangout would be cheering, when they would do a really good job. So that has been neat to see when a student really nailed a live report, because KOMU is affiliated with the University of Missouri Journalism School, so a lot of the students there are reporters. So that has been neat to see, and we've shown some of those reporters, hey, after you did your live report, look at what the Hangout did, and they were like, yes. So
that was awesome. And I remember back in September there was someone that you had walked away and the video's up. It's like, it has like a lot of views, and this guy I think was from the journalism school, and he was just like, I'm gonna leave you with the Hangout, educate him about the Hangout, let him know what's going on. And he was like, hey guys, all right. He was like very kind of shy, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm gonna take off this. Jesus. All right, no more news. Let's get into audience questions. We have a lot of people watching, but pre-questions. Paul Rustan, who's a great friend and body painter, he wants to know what sparked and/or inspired you to do your first Hangout as a news platform. This is a question.
We actually opened a Hangout on a whim. Jen Reeves, who is our she's the digital ninja at KOMU-TV, and she said, hey, there's this new platform out there. It's called Google+, and you know what? It has this really kind of neat feature. It's like a group video chat room. And so, the first day I was up, I was like, oh, that would be really cool to open up a laptop on the news set and see if anybody would be interested in seeing what it was like behind the scenes of the newscast. So what inspired me was just what inspires anyone else to go out and make their first post on a new social media. It's platform. It's the ability to want to connect with people outside of their inner circle. And I think a lot of people will tell you, including Cliff Roth and others, who calls this space a virtual trade show, this space is not just for your friends. It's for your strangers who quickly become your friends. It is networking on steroids, because you have that face-to-face interaction. So you don't necessarily come to this platform just to stay connected to your friends. You come to this platform to plus your business, or plus your world, or plus yourself, and move you on to a different level by networking and making making friends with people who enrich your life, essentially.
That's a great answer. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can use Hangouts on Air, and Google Plus, and all together. And Google has talked about how it's all going to be one. YouTube as well, and that should be interesting to see how YouTube and Hangouts on Air and YouTube Live and Google really come together, and people's real names and really who they are, not just New York 12394Q has to say about it, but it's going to make it more personal, and people are going to be, I think, more responsible for what they say maybe and what they do online. And we've seen that a little bit about being more careful and talk about employment and social networks, about what they post, whether they're posting something publicly or limited. That's going to be out there. I mean, have you seen a lot of mishaps by people when they're posting on Google Plus or social media when it comes to that kind of thing and employment?
When I have seen any kind of what? I'm sorry, you cut out there.
Yeah, there's some reason I still have the echo. I'm not sure. I don't usually have this issue, but maybe. No, I was just saying, you know, when people post on Google Plus or Facebook too, there's always an issue of them being careful what they post. So have you seen a lot of things where people are scared to post things publicly, or do you, or maybe they make a mishap, you're wondering why they would post something like that, or maybe it doesn't really go with them. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, I've not seen anybody scared to post publicly. I have seen people who don't post publicly only because they don't know any better, and that they think, oh well, I only need to share this with my circles. But what people watching this and others who are new to the platform need to realize is that by posting publicly is how you get indexed, right? In Google search. That, and that's also how you meet people. So if you're just posting to the people that you know, essentially that's a neon sign that, you're not open for business as far as making connections. So definitely do post publicly.
Definitely. All right, one more. Chad Lafarge said, I wonder if Hangouts have evolved in a way that you would have hoped, and who's doing it right. So have Hangouts evolved since the beginning in a way with on air and everything, and how people are using it, and I guess there's a lot of people doing it right, so don't feel pressured to have to name me if you know the difference.
Yeah, Hangouts have certainly evolved, and it seems like every week there's a new feature. Whether it be the Hangout lower third app, whether it be the ability to track comments with the Hangout, new games, new overlays. Yes, they have evolved. The huge killer feature, obviously, was the on-air feature, and I think that came about from the users on the platform who, in the early days, we were connecting our Hangouts and streaming from our laptops onto our live stream or our Ustream account. So, Google looked at that and said, well, we, combine those together, and, then you don't have to use those streaming things. So, absolutely, the features have evolved that have made it more user-friendly, and the ability to bring more people into the conversation via the text features, via people like, for instance, Chad Lafarge, who was talking about that question in his Hangout endeavor called Pro Studio, that people are using to be better able to mute mics and mute video and see what's coming up in the rundown. And all of that's developed from people using this space, again, a renaissance, and letting developers know what they need, and then those needs are being met.
Definitely, and we're gonna get to your new gig. I know you have a new gig account that you're excited about, and but real quick, I just we've hurled Hangout in real life. I haven't hurled with you, but you've hurled a little bit. You met Aramin Nomir in real life, and a few people, and that must have been a crazy experience or a cool experience with beer and wings. What was that those hurls like at dinner and with Aramin and everyone else?
Yeah, absolutely. And Suite 709 and cool. Joseph Puglisi. We've done a couple of hurls. I did a hurl with Joseph in New York. I missed the New York hurl. I would have loved to have been there.
I didn't know you were here. Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. And it was a last minute thing that we were there. But also we had a fairly large hurl in Las Vegas for the National Association of Broadcasters there. So that was neat. We did a presentation to other broadcasters and students interested in using this platform. So obviously it's so neat to see someone hurl. By the way, for those watching, stands for hang out in real life.
Yeah.
And when you see the person for the first time, if Matthew and I were to see each other, you pick up instantly, even though we had never physically met. You feel like you have. And again, that just goes to show you, had I tweeted with Matthew or chatted with his avatar and I saw him for the first time, I would shake his hand, right? Yeah. But if I had hung out with him, if I saw him for the first time and we hurled, I would give him a hug, because you feel, like you know.
Maybe a kiss on the cheek if I'm lucky.
All right, a deeper level of connection.
A deeper level of connection, yeah.
You can play on it right there. Thank you. All right, I got it.
There you go. I kissed Sarah Hill virtually. Now I have to fly to Missouri.
Public display of defection.
PDA. Yeah. Not that you have your husband that's watching or anything.
I don't think he is. No.
He doesn't. I have to be scared. So your new gig, Central Missouri Virtual Honor Flights. Let's talk about that and lead into your new gig, as I'm all flustered here. So, my kiss.
Yeah, Virtual Honor Flights. Honor Flight is an organization. A few years ago, we did a bunch of stories about a group of veterans who were flying to Washington, D.C. to see their memorial. After we aired those groups of stories, my email inbox and my voicemail was flooded with wives of veterans talking about how their husbands were too sick to go and there wasn't a hub in central Missouri for them to go. So some volunteers, Steve, Sharon Paulsell, Mary Paulsell, Barb Brueggemann, Scott Schaefer, all got together and we formed what's called Central Missouri Honor Flight. And there are national hubs of Honor Flight all over, but this is specifically located in Central Missouri. They fly World War II veterans to see their memorial at no cost to them. We're losing our World War II veterans at a rate of about 1,200 a day nationwide. So think about that. I mean, they are aging 80 and 90-year-olds so quickly. So it's incredibly important that we get them to see their memorial. However, what we found is that some of them are so sick, they're not able to fly. They have a heart condition, they have a respiratory condition that their doctors will not allow them to fly. And if they were to fly, they might not make it. So obviously wouldn't want to put them in that situation. So what Virtual Honor Flight does is essentially take an honor flight via Google Plus Hangouts and brings it to them. So on September 4th, there is a physical honor flight that will be leaving from Columbia, Missouri, early in the morning. It's a one-day trip and they fly to Washington, D.C. So what we're doing is taking the vets who are too sick to fly, bringing them in a hangout. We have 4 World War II veterans, one from Colorado, one from Michigan, one from Jefferson City, Missouri, and one from Ladonia, Missouri. So they will be joining the hangout, and we will have volunteer videographers at Baltimore BWI Airport to capture them landing on the plane, to capture them, applause at the airport when they arrive at the terminal, to capture the memorial and essentially give those individuals in the hangout the honor flight experience, give them a personal live tour so that even though they will probably pass away without physically seeing their memorial, they still have the ability to get a virtual tour.
One of the individuals, Tuesday, September 4th?
Tuesday, September 4th, and one of the individuals in that hangout is a D-Day veteran, so he fought on the beaches of Normandy, and one of the places, Laurent Jean-Philippe, will be giving us a live virtual tour of the Omaha Beach Memorial in France. So this soldier in the hangout will have the ability to see his memorial in France, and again, reducing the physical space between us. This will be an opportunity for a lot of these veterans to have some closure, and that they were never able to see their memorial, and they can't get on a physical honor flight, but they have the ability to be on a virtual honor flight and still be recognized. And with that, on that day, in between 9 a.m. Central and 11 a.m. in between 8 a.m. Central, in between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern, individuals on the stream, if you plus post me and comment and let us know that you come in and do this, we're allowing individuals to come in and tell those veterans thank you for their service to their country. It's incredibly important that those World War II veterans know that, because they saved the world. They wrote out a blank check payable up to including their lives, and so this is an opportunity for people out on the platform on Google Plus to come in and let them know briefly, that they appreciate their service.
Well, that sounds pretty
So we'll
amazing.
have 2 thumbnails open where people can rotate in throughout that honor flight experience and share a message with those vets.
And how many people are you able to hook up to the Hangout and connect with to get involved? Like vet numbers, number of
Jimmy
vets?
Gardner and John Butterill and Bruce Garber of Virtual Photo Walks have been a tremendous resource to us as far as finding volunteers. Jimmy Gardner will be in Washington, D.C. He has a backup, Todd LaRocca, who will also be with him. Laurent Jean-Philippe will be in France, and Michael Tucker will be giving us a tour of some World War II memorial and telling us some stories from Australia. So, a global tour. for these veterans and an opportunity to see their World War II memorial and some of these other places that were involved during the different theaters of World War II.
Speaking of Bruce Gaba, we've talked about him before. He talked me a question. Getting to your new gig, instead of reading what I have, I'll read right when he wants to know, with your new gig, he wants to know a little bit more about what your role will be and what your responsibilities will be and how it will be different from the news. And the only thing that I would add was, how did you make that decision to go from? So it's like five-part question.
Mm-hmm. Well, first off, here at Veterans United, they also have a foundation, and they tell a lot of stories about veterans. Veterans and service members are subject matter that are near and dear to my heart, always have been. My grandpa was a World War II vet, and I've always enjoyed telling those stories. We've been on like 7 honor flights doing stories about these veterans. So when Veterans United approached me about the opportunity to tell veteran stories, and not only that, but the opportunity that they wanted to use this space of Hangouts in order to connect face-to-face with people and talk about issues that relate to veterans and military service members, I jumped at the chance. Essentially, it's the same thing as a broadcaster. You don't need a big stick to be a broadcaster. You have YouTube, right? So more and more businesses you will see hiring on their own broadcasters, especially since all of these digital tools are free. We have the ability to broadcast, and so we'll be doing broadcasts for the Veterans United Network, which is the content arm essentially for Veterans United Home Loans. Home loans are actually the core business of Veterans United. They're the largest provider of VA home loans in the nation. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing stories about veterans. We'll be doing regular hangouts with celebrities. We have a hangout with Brian Stan, a UFC fighter, coming up in a few weeks. So watch our stream for that. All of these opportunities for us to connect and for a business to connect with people.
Cool. Also, so how did you also go from that decision? I know you've written about it. People have Peter made a goodbye video post. How did you go from, it's time to leave the news? I know you mentioned family, spending more time with your family, doing things more your way. Maybe, I don't know if that's it, but how do you go from leaving news to this new gig? I'm sure it was a hard decision.
Yeah, the news beast is very heavy on your back. And that in this day and age when news breaks, you're obviously not reporting just for TV, but you're reporting for multiple platforms of all of your social sites. So it is an incredible job and a very important job. Veterans United offered me the opportunity to do the things that I love and focus more on the things that I enjoy, which is storytelling and playing in emerging platforms. Those two things hand in hand. So that's what I'm doing here, and not having to focus as much on feeding the news beast day to day. We did 2 shows, and then we also were doing things in emerging platforms, and then we were also telling stories. I have a feature franchise called Sarah Stories, and some of those stories that we do for Veterans United have a potential to air on KOMU as well. So we still have a relationship. I say I moonlight for KOMU. So my full-time gig is here at Veterans United, but I still moonlight at KOMU-TV. So, still have my toe in the water over there, but I'm very excited about the opportunity to tell more veteran stories and focus on storytelling and be able to use this space even more than what we were doing at KOMU.
So that leads me to, so as far as your idols go, people that you idolize in the news, I mean, sure there's Katie Kirk now, but so many great newsmen and more women, who are the top 1 or 2 or 3 that come to mind that really inspire you when it comes to news and telling stories and journalism?
Not all of them are necessarily women. I would say some of the people who inspire me, Paul Harvey, right? I mean, I love how Paul Harvey wrote. He was the ultimate cliffhanger. There is a journalist called Warren Friedman. He is a wonderful writer. Steve Harvey is a great visual storyteller. A very dear friend of mine, Deirdre Fitzpatrick, is a very good visual storyteller. I think I enjoy writing for video because I think I love the way that words marry with pictures in such a unique way. There's no other platform but video where words can instantly marry with pictures. And so that's kind of why I enjoy writing in this platform, and I enjoy storytelling in this platform. So those are just a few of the people that I admire, and they're not always people that you've heard of. Oftentimes some of the best writers and some of the best storytellers aren't necessarily on a national scale that everyone's heard of.
Cool. Let's do a G4 to this or that. No wrong answer, like Coke or Pepsi, real quick. Just what you prefer. Sometimes it's Sophie's choice. Hopefully it's not that bad. So the first one is, I think you're into sports, maybe your St. Louis talk. Baseball or football?
Baseball. My son plays baseball, and my nephew is used to play for the Toronto Blue Jays and on one of their teams. So definitely baseball.
Very cool. That's the correct answer. So G plus might be first in your hearts, but between the other two, Twitter or Facebook, can you choose one over the other?
Twitter.
Twitter, okay, that's what everyone wants to hear. This comes from Jane Ellen for the assist. She wants to know lipstick or lip gloss?
Lip gloss.
Lip gloss, okay.
My lip gloss be poppin'. That's a song, right?
Yeah, it is.
My teenage daughter likes to sing that.
She likes that. Yeah, this YouTube video, where's the chapstick? That too, which is kind of crazy. And Cronkite, he gets a lot of recognition, but the three news anchors, that I grew up watching, Dan Rather, Peter Jennings, and Tom Brokaw. And Peter McDermott does it pretty bad. Tom Brokaw, I can't do it. He does it. Do you prefer one of those guys out of those three, or?
A few years ago, I probably would have said something totally different. But I would say, I guess I'd probably say, Tom Brokaw, just because of his NBC affiliation, and we were NBC as well.
It's like that's the correct answer, but you don't. Yeah, she's like, I'll go with that. Correct. And then the vampires.
I like Peter Jennings' delivery the best. So.
Peter Jennings, yeah, that's cool. He had that deep voice, which everyone loves. And then also, this is just for vampires because they're everywhere, and your dog is spelled. Twilight, True Blood, or Buffy? Did you watch any of those?
Twilight. I know. Don't throw things at me. But yeah, Twilight. We have a Twilight spoof party every year. So I kid you not.
Wow.
Last year when the movie came out, I mean, it's not that we take it so incredibly seriously, but last year when the movie came out, we had a food fight kind of ish with recyclable things for 200 people in my basement. And it had a Twilight theme, so we had wolves there and all kinds of things. So Twilight is huge in our family. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the films. I liked the books, and we do some spoofs with that as well.
Nothing to do with Robert
definitely
Pattinson.
Twilight. And I'm Team Jacob, in case you're asking.
Okay. Because I haven't seen the movies, but I've seen the previews where they just kind of take off their shirt for no reason. Seems like, I don't know if that's true, if that happens.
Yeah.
But that's what people want to see, I guess. All right, let's talk about Google Plus, and then we'll wrap up if that's cool. If you have anything to add about Veterans United Home Loans, we talk at the very end.
Yeah, we want to connect with people. So in order for you all to join our Hangouts, business pages do not have the ability to circle you unless you circle us first. That's just how Google sets it up to prevent spammers. So we cannot have you. We want you in our Hangouts. So the way that you get in our Hangouts is to +1 the Veterans United Home Loans page. Just search in Google Plus Veterans United Home Loans, and then also to follow the page as well. That allows us to see that you want to connect with us, and allows us to then invite you into our Hangout and put you in our Hangout approved circles. Every day at 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, I'm hanging out. So I hang out for no other agenda than just to say hello, to talk with you about Hangouts, about veterans issues, about military issues. I'm out on the virtual front porch. I would love it if you would come and say hello, introduce yourself, tell me about the projects that you're working on. That's our connection, and that happens on the Veterans United Home Loans profile at 4 p.m. Every day. So pop on in, and we'll tell you about some of the things that we're working on, either with virtual honor flights or about some of our upcoming Hangouts with Brian Stan or others.
Cool. So Google Plus, or I do a Google Plus wrap up, but you are one of the few suggested users that we've had. And just real quick, what has your experience been like that, and has it made keeping up tougher? Because now, on that list, you get a lot more interaction, a lot more engagement as far as like notifications go. So what has that experience been like, and how has it changed from before that happened? Were there differences or?
Mm-hmm. And did you say with I missed part of that question again. I didn't hear what you said. My experience with Google Plus.
No, your experience with being, yeah, we'll get to that, but your experience with Google Plus is amazing, but I suggested user list being on it.
Okay, that's what I thought you said, but I wasn't for sure. I just wanted to clarify. The suggested user list, also known as the SUL, is controversial. Some people have, not thought that it's fair, and some of the content that's shared from this suggested user list hasn't been as good as some of the other content. Obviously, from my personal situation, it's benefited me because it has allowed me to meet more individuals from around the globe and to have the ability to interact with them and bring them in our Hangouts. So it's essentially widened our viewing area in that, we were just mid-Missouri, but via Google Plus, we had the ability, we had people from Pakistan and, Indonesia and Germany and France watching our broadcast. So obviously I've benefited from that, but I can certainly see the point from some of those individuals who talk about the suggested user list as being a negative thing. For me, I've benefited from it because it's allowed us to open up our viewing area. So I can certainly see both sides, all sides in that situation. But for my purposes, it's been a benefit.
For sure. And there are a lot of great things, that happen with that list, and I think we just would like to see the community expanded overall, and like you said, meet more people and get more people out there. You mentioned Cliff Roth, and I have Paul Rustan and Bruce Garber, and there's a lot of people out there, Peter, a lot of people doing some great stuff.
Yeah, and especially people using Hangouts like yourself. It would be great to see more of them on there so that more people could see them as portals to this killer app on the platform.
For sure, yeah. Getting an easy way for people to see on-air Hangouts, and I don't think they have that just yet. They have the page, but I think it would be great if on-air Hangouts, a calendar, schedule something that they can easily refer to you and see it right when they join Google Plus. So, what is your favorite part of Google Plus? Is it Hangouts or?
Of course, it's Hangouts. Absolutely, it's. That is my favorite part. That followed by Circles and the ability to easily share information with a certain group of people. And as a broadcaster, I look at Circles and think, sometime in the future, could those be channels? Right? Because what you're doing essentially is sharing content, certain kinds of content with certain groups of people. So on the broadcasting platform, in the future, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
For sure, yeah. And I'm wondering what's going to happen with Google TV and Hangouts and connecting all that stuff across the world.
It's a broadcasting platform. I mean, it's not just a social media platform. It is a broadcasting platform.
Yeah, for sure. And how it connects with YouTube is going to be interesting too. What feature would you like to most see integrated that's not here yet that you really would tell it, besides the teleprompter I came up with?
Yeah, there are a bunch of features. I've got them on my wish list, and I've shared them in my stream before. If anybody wants me to share it again, I'd be happy to do that. The ability to read comments inside the Hangout. Obviously, that's something that we're able to do outside of the Hangout, and I'm sure that that's probably coming. There are great ways via Google Moderator and Comment Tracker, and I know Pro Studio has been working as well, but that would be great for the host, the ability to track comments inside the Hangout. Reducing the white space. White space is problematic for a camera's iris if you're shooting it on a studio monitor because all that white space sucks out the iris and makes all the faces in the Hangout appear dark. So if there were some way to manipulate that white space so that those faces would not appear dark, that would be great.
And you're specifically talking about in the Hangouts because there's that white. A lot of people know white space as the white space on the stream, but you're talking about specifically Hangout white space.
Mm-hmm. Reducing the circling limit. for instance, I've hit the circling limit before. And that does for people who use Hangouts, that 5,000 people, when you open up a Hangout, you open it up to your approved Hangout circles. Well, you only have a limited number of people who can be in that circle, and therefore it kind of limits the diversity of your Hangouts, and it limits the diversity of the people that you can direct into your Hangouts. So if that circling limit was lifted so that you would have the ability to circle more individuals, that would be certainly a great benefit. I could go on and on, but reducing the telepresence for the host, in that when you're in a Hangout and you're standing next to a monitor and the host starts talking, they're automatically displayed in the monitor right next to you. So you have Sarah in person, and then you also see Sarah up on the screen. Now, if you blue box or if you sticky click them, that's not the case, but then you have to have someone in the Hangout physically, doing the thumbnails. So if there was a way to toggle on and off, I call it telepresence. I don't know if I'm using the right term there, but toggle on and off the audio control for the host, that would be huge.
For sure, yeah. As a host, it's to, when you're hosting it on air, it's like you want to be charming, you want to watch the audience, you want to control the controls, you want to do everything at once, and it's to be a
also
lot.
the ability to make the big box full screen, and all of this stuff is, let's be honest, this is free killer material, right? I mean, we got all of this for free, so who are us to we say we want this, we want this, we want this, but some of the features on a dream list would be the ability to have that big box go full screen, and that would be very important for broadcasters out there on YouTube and anywhere else, the ability to make it full screen in the Hangout and have the thumbnails disappear.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially to make it the quality better and everything. When you think of Hangouts, the first word or phrase that comes to mind?
Human media.
Bam.
Human media is the new emerging platform. It's not just social media, it's human media, as Tim Moore says, living, breathing social media. Nice.
I think you should have a G+ page called Human Media. I think that's if you don't have enough to do.
Yeah. I wrote an interesting story about it. If you Google human media, Sarah Hill stories, I can go on and on about human media. So
sure, people are watching. They're chomping at the bit. When you people love G+, I usually ask people to recommend people, but that seems kind of crazy. Is there any journalists you could recommend that could get some love, maybe?
Absolutely. I shared a whole circle in my stream. If you search the hashtag #NewsHankor, that's news, HANGCHORS. Melissa Carlson at KRNV in Nevada using Hangouts. Join her Hangouts. She's doing great things. Maria Quaban at Fox in LA and Tashaka Armstrong are doing great things with Hangouts. They are using it behind the scenes of their newscast in order to bring in celebrities. People have hung out with everybody from Ice-T to, Mike Tyson. Can you imagine that you would never have the ability to do that on any other text-based social network? Maria Quaban, who else?
Of course, Angie Bailey and everybody else.
Angie Bailey from KOMU-TV, I mentioned her. Also, Emily Spain is on our morning show, and she's doing morning show breakfast hangouts at 4:30 a.m. Central. So if you are up that early, plus post Emily Spain, tell her that you want to hang out, and she needs to add you to her approved hangout circle, so certainly add her on as well. Brent Cannon. George, I'm forgetting his name.
I feel like you just won the Emmy. You're trying to remember everybody.
Yeah, well, George, I know, doesn't it? But I want to make sure that all of these individuals get mentioned, because people out there on the stream need to circle these individuals because they're doing some fascinating things. George Takemo, I know I'm mispronouncing your name. There's also an individual in my NewsHankor circle that was shared who broadcasts from a Native American reservation, and he's using Hangouts in order to connect with other Native Americans. Amy Wood is also a broadcaster who uses not just Hangouts, but she's also experimenting with Spreecast as well. In addition, Michelle Lee. Oh, I almost forgot. Michelle Lee as well. She is in the Seattle area, and she is using Hangouts as well and really wants to use that platform to go even more. Also, Stephanie Cruz in Sacramento, California. She is using Hangouts. And on a regular basis. George Kiriyama, yes, thank you, Bruce Carver. George Kiriyama, he's using as well. But again, if you're in the Google Plus stream, if you search News Hanker, HANGCHORS, you'll see the circle that I've shared.
Yeah,
Anthony Quintano is from NBC. He's
I've met him too.
on the network level.
Yeah. Lots of great broadcasts. And then there are independent
and LA Times, Huffington
too.
Post, have you seen what the Huffington Post, HuffPo Live is doing with Hangouts? That's really fascinating to watch. That's one of the larger news organizations that have picked up the torch of Hangouts and sees the value in giving people a platform.
Yeah, I know Mashable and New York Times have done a few as well, so for sure. Cat pics, dog pics, animated GIFs, you see that? You must see a billion maybe. Any feeling about any of them? I know you have dogs. Occasional dog picture. Doesn't it be weird?
Animated GIFs of cats. Do I have a feeling about it? I don't necessarily like them when I see them in my stream,
right.
But
you're like, so that makes me. Would you like to follow people only based on topics? Do you think that would be cool? Like then you could.
Yeah, that would be really neat. If there was the ability to, even hangout circles. If on the suggested user list or something like that, these are individuals who hang out about knitting. These are individuals who hang out about news and news broadcasts. These are individuals who hang out to talk about, medical issues. That would really be fascinating to connect people, since this platform, as Cliff Roth says, is a virtual trade show. If you have the ability to instantly, we're all sharing circles in our stream, but unless you have a following to have circles be shared with you, you're not necessarily going to see those circles in your stream. So if there were some way that when you just got on the platform that you could click here, here, and here, and to know that these are a group of interest groups that you can add, that would be huge to connect people.
That'd be great. And also, the big thing, too, is that everybody posts mostly about many things, not just one thing. So that's the tough thing, I think, with Google+. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, others, do you still, you use Facebook still, but do you use the others much, less, more?
Yeah, I have to be on all platforms because my business obviously demands it. Customers and at KOMU, when I was there, the audience also demanded it because we need to be wherever the conversations are happening. Not just on Google+, but on Twitter, on Facebook, on Pinterest, and also on LinkedIn. Obviously, I have a presence more in this space than I do in any of the others. But this is my favorite space. But
yeah, Facebook. From Google Plus, I think you gained a following, or no? Is it from Google Plus that you gained? It seemed like you have a Facebook following.
Yeah, I have a Facebook following as well, and so I feed that, and we share items in the stream. Like I said, we're not just reporting for one platform anymore. We are disseminating that information on multiple channels, and it's just like here at Veterans United, with the blog content that they have. When they do a story, they don't just share it on their blog, they share it on all of their social sites. And now that I'm in the building, they also have a broadcaster who's able to do hangouts about it and who's able to do video packages about it as well.
Awesome. Well, Sarah Hill, you've been great. Is there one big you've been the whole course of Google Plus, the whole year you've had, the baby, and the guy just had a baby, and all these great hangouts and stories. Is there something that just blew you away that comes to mind that you're like, that was the moment that really changed things, or that was like a killer moment?
Yeah, it was the moment that the engineers turned on the second IFB in my ear, and I was able to hear the reaction of the audience when we were reading. And I will never forget Larry Fanillier. He had a rooster, right? And so I'm reading the news, and I'm reading this news story, and I'm hearing this rooster crow in my ear from Trinidad Tobago, right? And it was just like, wow, this is fascinating technology that, you're doing a newscast and you can hear a rooster crow in a living room in Trinidad, Tobago. And a few weeks later, I hadn't heard the rooster in a while. And I said, Larry, I haven't heard the rooster in a while happen. He goes, oh, it was dinner. So the rooster was no more. But it was the aha moment for me and the magic moment for me, the first time that those people flooded in the Hangout and we realized, holy cow, we are able to have a group conversation about issues and meet people face to face, punch through the TV glass, punch through the computer glass of any other text-based social platform and communicate with them in real time.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I can't imagine what's to come. Sarah Hill, you've been amazing. I know you have there's another event going on right now as we speak. If you want to quickly talk about that.
Yeah, Veterans United Home Loans is hanging out right now. They're answering questions about credit and about VA loans as well. So, hop on over, comment in their stream, ask your questions about credit or about VA loans or anything that you would like to ask a mortgage institution or about veterans, and they'd be happy to answer your questions. Adrienne May is our producer over there, and she's another individual on our Hangouts team. We are a business who we have a Hangouts team, and I think you'll see more businesses doing that in the future as well. But circle her; she's a good one to know, and she will answer each and every question that's posted in the stream. And again, that's happening on the Veterans United Home Loans profile. +1 it, circle it. Hang out with me there every day at 4 p.m. And on Tuesday, September 4th, really make some plans to take 2 minutes out of your day, join the Hangout with these World War II vets and thank them for their service to our country. You can only join if Veterans United Home Loan has you in our circles. So if you can add them so that we can add you back and do this for these vets, that's coming up on Tuesday.
Great. And I agree with what you said about people and pages having a 5,000 limit. I wonder if pages and people should really be treated differently than the same. Because it makes sense to be able to circle an unlimited amount of pages, just like you can, because if you do, let's say you do 5,000 businesses, then you have no people, so there's like lots of pages, lots of people that you want to interact with. And with circles evolving, circles are not just for streams, they're for Hangouts, they're for a lot more things that are happening. So looking forward to seeing what Google has in store for us with circles and how we're going to use them in the future. Sarah Hill, you're lovely, you're amazing. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, well, thank you very much. It's great to chat with you, and I appreciate the opportunity and really admire all of the people who are using this space, and we all have a broadcast stick. So it's really fascinating to see how everybody is using their broadcast tower.
For sure. And I'm going to have, hopefully, if you're around on the 12th to the 13th, I'm doing a 24-hour marathon show where I'm going to literally have Suite 709 are going to open my show. And I'm going to spend the next 24 hours, there's only a 4-hour window that you can broadcast and you have to shut down and start over. And I'll have to probably go to the bathroom at some point and all that. But that's the other thing. There are no Hangouts don't come with the food and the sleep and the bathroom. So it'll be fun, though. It'll be great.
Maybe there's an app for that.
Yeah,
there's the restroom app, you think?
I think there's, the app that says the closest bathroom, which is like that way. So, right. For sure. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're going to hopefully have everyone back, and maybe Gadocha wants to stop by if he's not drinking what? Drink his red wine. Chris Perlo, I said that the two of them like their wine. They hang out with their wine in their hand, and that's a lot of fun. But we're going to do an after show with you real quick. Conversations Plus coming right up. I know Gabber probably wants to jump in here.
Bruce Gabber.
He's got a lot of questions, and maybe chat with Farage, other people watching. But next week we're going to have, before the anniversary show, Mark Rodriguez. You should circle him. He does the movie mashups on Tuesday, which is really cool stuff. So thanks for watching live or on Google Plus or YouTube or the million platforms that are out there. And until next time, go wish someone a happy birthday. Now you can on Google.com.
High five.
High five. I like.